Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a drama from Denmark, Danish language English subs, released in the year 2004, directed by Susan Beer, and this film is called Brothers. Now it has since been remade by Hollywood, that stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire, so if you're familiar with that film, this is where it all started. So the story of Brothers, you've got two brothers, one younger brother and an older brother who are very close together. Now the younger brother is deemed as a bit of a loser, he's wandering aimlessly around in life, he gets drunk a lot, he sleeps with a lot of women, he just doesn't have a lot of respect, especially by his parents. And then you've got the older brother who looks after the younger brother, but this guy is the pride of the family. He serves in the army, he has a beautiful wife and a child, and he seems to have everything. So the older brother is constantly looking out for the younger one. The younger one's always in trouble, and it's the older brother who's always to the rescue. So one day he's told that he has to be stationed in Afghanistan, that it's time for him to serve his country. And the younger brother says, look, don't worry, I'll be looking after your family while you're gone, and when you get back you can continue the way things are. I promise to keep them safe. So this this gives some assurance to the older brother, and he goes to Afghanistan, but he doesn't come back and he's presumed dead. And so the younger brother, obviously the whole family is devastated. The younger brother sees this as an opportunity to honour his older brother by raising his family, trying to take some responsibility and maturity. But along the way, accidentally, there is a strong bond between the younger brother and the older brother's wife, and they start to develop feelings. So things are starting to get very complicated there. And things are even more complicated when they realise that the older brother wasn't killed. In fact, he was caught by militants in Afghanistan, but has been rescued by a military operation, and he's on his way home. So when he gets home, he is not the same guy. He's had to do awful things in Afghanistan, and it has changed the person he is. So he's got post-traumatic stress, and on top of that he has to contend with the fact that his once beloved younger brother has taken over the family in his eyes. So it all threatens to get way out of control, and what happens at that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Brothers. This is by far Susan Beer's best film. Now, as I said, it's been remade by Hollywood, and that's an indication that this movie is very good. Usually Hollywood will take very good ideas from overseas and make it their own. So that should give you an indication of what this movie is going to be like. I think it was nominated for an award. I didn't know if it actually won anything from the Academy Awards. I can't remember that far back. I don't really pay too much attention to the Oscars, but this movie deserves awards because I think that it hits you on such an emotional level. It's a movie where you don't really have a bad guy to hate, and because of that you don't really feel like you have any comfort in the film. Now what I mean by that is that some of these movies, someone's always got to be the bad guy. You've got to hate somebody, so you're barracking and you're rooting for the good guy to take back what's his, and you hope that the bad guy gets what he deserves. But in this movie, you've got such a strong bond within this family. Now you've got Connie Nielsen, who plays the beautiful wife, you've got Ulrich Thomsen, who plays the older brother, and you've got Nikolai Lee Kaus, who plays the younger brother, and you sense that this is a genuine family. At the start of the movie, the brotherly love between Ulrich Thomsen and Nikolai Lee Kaus was beautiful. You've got what a big brother should be doing, looking out for his younger brother, making sure that his younger brother is going to get the life that he deserves. And it's about doing what you do for your family, and you get the strong sense of connection, and therefore you like both of the characters. Nikolai Lee Kaus' character, although he's an alcoholic, you sense that he's a really good guy because of the way he treats his older brother's family. It's all very innocent, and you sense that he likes children and he's trying his best to do the right thing. But because of his choices in life, some other aspects of his life aren't so good, but it doesn't mean he's a bad person. So each character is painted in a very likeable way, and that family dynamic that the film has at the start of the movie really helps capture you. And that's what makes it so heartbreaking towards the later part of the film, is that the circumstances are the true villain of the film. Is that, you don't hate the younger brother for taking the role of the older brother, because he saw a family that didn't have a father and a husband anymore. And he wanted to take it upon himself to finally step up to the plate, become a better person and do the right thing to honour his brother. But then this complication arises when he falls in love with his older brother's wife. And when his older brother comes back, he sees the younger brother as a villain, but he's not a villain. And as I said, some things just can't be, you can't rewind things back to how it was. And when you've moved on thinking that someone's dead, well, can you blame them? And so when he comes back, Ulrich Thomsen's character, he just sees everything in a totally different light. And it would have been, as I said, it would have been so much easier if Susan Beer painted Nikolai Lee Kaus' character as a bad guy, because it would have given you comfort, it would have given you someone to support. But in this movie, you've got no one to support because everybody doesn't deserve what they're getting. And so I just thought there was the emotion in the film was absolutely, it hit me very hard, because usually Susan Bier films, I think they're a tad bit exaggerated, but this movie had a much more subdued sort of role to it. It had a very solid platform, and it was just building itself up to hit you with a lot of emotion towards the end of the movie. I mean, Ulrich Thomsen, this is his film, the older brother. What he had to do in Afghanistan, I'm not going to tell you, but that was just absolutely ghastly, and that would tear anybody apart. And so when he comes back home, his transformation from being a really likeable guy to a very intimidating sort of evil guy, I thought that was fascinating. And it was very realistic, very authentic, and it showcases how good the acting was in this film. The younger brother once idolised the older brother, and all of a sudden now the younger brother is in fear of the older brother. So it's just a transformation because of circumstances that have risen up, and it was the fault of nobody. So you don't have a hero in the film, you don't have a villain in the film. All it is just family dynamics and how people can just completely crumble because of what they're being forced to do. So the soundtrack was fantastic, cinematography excellent. It's a very dreaded feeling, and it's just a feeling of hopelessness and not being able to control anything. So you're witnessing a crash that's inevitable, and you're just bracing yourself for the impact. And when the impact hits you, it is really, really hard to take. So I thought the continuity was very good. Some of the scenes were very memorable. As I said, there are some ghastly scenes that really hit me hard, disturbed me to no end, because it didn't glorify those particular scenes. It happened in a very matter-of-fact way, and it hits you in a very realistic way. So it's when you see something on the news, some violence in the news, it's not the same as seeing a violent splatter film. Because you know that on the news it's real, it hits you so much harder. But in this movie, the way the violence has been done hits you very, very hard because of its realism. So, I mean, it's a very depressing sort of movie that Susan Bier has created here. Having said all those really good things about the movie, it isn't a perfect film. I think this movie would have benefited from a better structure. Now, the continuity, as I said, is good. But the problem I had with the film was that it could have been so much better if Susan Bier chose to do something in a different order. Now, what I mean by that is that you do get to see what this guy's had to do overseas and why he has this post-traumatic stress. But it would have been a lot better if Susan Bier didn't show you what happened, or at the very least, show it right at the end. So when he's going through his post-traumatic stress, you're as oblivious to the situation as his family were. So you can put yourself in the shoes of the family, not knowing what this guy's had to do. Did he have to kill a child? Did he have to, what has this guy had to do that has made him the person that he is now? And I think the power of the imagination can just snowball into something so much bigger than the actual thing that's happened. And don't get me wrong, it's not a little thing that this guy had to do, but I thought it would have been even more emotional, more impactful if you're basing your judgment on his body, on this character's actions. How he's reacting it kind of makes you feel that, what he did must have been really, really, really bad. But knowing what he did, it kind of takes you out of the shoes of the characters, and you're kind of watching from a third-person perspective, sort of a fly on the wall. And it kind of disconnects you from the characters a little bit. But I thought that if it was right at the end, or didn't show it at all, it would have allowed you to stay in the shoes of these characters and be oblivious to the situation. And I think that's more of an experience than actually knowing everything that's happened. And so that is not a big criticism. That's the only criticism I could actually find in this film. And I actually thought it would have been a lot more a lot more emotional and powerful if, as I said, if you were oblivious to the situation. But because you're not, you can kind of distance yourself in parts of the movie, and it doesn't quite strike you as much as it could have. So overall, this movie is very, very good. If you like the remake, check out the original. In most of these cases, the original is better than the remake, but you can be your own judge of that. And so for Brothers, I would highly recommend you go out there and see this film. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.